I'm here at the Fantasia Film Festival with David Brown. He's here for his new film, Sour Minnows.
Yeah.
It premiered on Friday.
Yeah.
I have to say, yeah, Friday. And so coming to the festival, and how did you find the experience there and the reception that the film has received?
It's been such a cool reception for the film, and it's my first time at the festival. And I'm so grateful to get to be here. And I hadn't seen the movie before coming to the festival either. It was my first time seeing the movie was in this context, like with the audience. And it was nerve-wracking in some ways, but I love and trust Harrison so much. And it was such a joy to make the movie that all I had to do is like think about the process of making the movie to calm those nerves, I guess. And then, yeah, the reception has been really nice. And the festival has been so cool and wonderful. And Montreal is such a cool city. So yeah, just happy to be here.
How was the crowd reaction when at the premiere? Because I didn't get a chance to attend the premiere, but like I know like with Fantasia, they're always like the crowds are always like rowdiest and stuff during the film.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect from the crowd reaction, and I knew based on other movies that I've seen that have shown here and premiered here that I thought that we would be in good company, and that I thought that if people liked other movies that had maybe like took some sort of like formal risks, that it would be probably a good potential place for Sour Minnows to premiere for the first time. And I think that was borne out by the experience of seeing it with this Fantasia audience who seemed to be pretty into it. People have been very nice about the movie. It's tonally sort of a trip, I would say, but people seem to be pretty much along for the ride for the parts that were funny and some parts that were less funny and some parts that are kind of a choose your own adventure for how the audience wants to respond, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about before, like you've been around for a few days now. You have a chance to like be able to explore the city a little, and I know you've been seeing a lot of films during the festival. So how have you been enjoying your time in Montreal and like and seeing the rest of the films at the festival so far?
The festival's been wonderful. I've seen a lot of stuff that I have loved. I just saw I Love Paris, which I thought was amazing. I thought it was such a good movie and such a cool use of talent and inspiration to make a movie with a great group of people in a cool environment. Seemingly, I don't know their like background or anything, but seemingly not that much of a budget, and still to make like a really amazing, funny, compelling piece of art. So that felt pretty emblematic of the festival at large for the stuff that I've seen like that. That it's just like a place where there's an audience that seems so down for whatever, and then cool filmmakers making cool stuff, getting to meet them here. So yeah, it's been great. As for the city writ large, I guess it's been cool. I really appreciate that the subway stations have all of the exits like marked really clearly. I feel like a lot of the time you're trying to leave a subway station, you don't know what street's going to be best. And here, there's no doubt in my mind ever that the sign is going to take me exactly where I'm supposed to go. Yeah,
it's awesome. I'm glad you're having a good time here in Montreal and the festival at large.
Yeah.
So I want to dive deep into the film now.
Yeah.
So I found that the film is incredibly unique, and I mean this in the positive way. But I had to go watch the movie again this morning just to kind of like grasp a lot of the ideas that Harrison is bringing to the table, because it brings a lot of subtleties in some of the his presentation. Like I wrote this in my review, and I agree with like Fantasia takes as well, is that like it has this great mix of like David Lynch surrealism and like a Richard Linklater hangout movie. So I wanted to know, what was your impression that you got from the first time reading the script, and like was it something that you understood right away, or is that something that you wanted to like clarify with Harrison after you read it?
Well, Harrison and I have been friends for a really long time, and I have known his voice for a really long time. He's such a singular voice. He's such a lovely guy. He's so warm and nice and funny. And even if the script had been, I would say, hundreds of times stranger, I think I still would have been game for whatever he wanted to do. I'm so happy that I got to make this movie with him. And it was nice not to have to, because even as the movie, I thought, does have a lot of kind of like formal strangeness to it, or like like kind of like a strangeness of form and a strangeness of subject matter, I still found it to be like pretty relatable in a lot of ways that have been surprising, that were surprising on the first read, that then as we were making the movie sort of opened themselves up, I thought, and then seeing the whole thing put together too, things that even at the time of shooting that I'd be like, I really don't know like what I'm doing here, that wound up feeling like they made a lot of sense in the final movie and with the music and everything. So yeah, I thought it came together really nicely. I guess that certain scenes really leapt right off the page, like the scene where we're trying to watch a movie and not really able to remember like whether we've watched the movie already or what, like things like that. That like that just like read like exactly like how I thought it turned out in the final thing. And that was, you know, like moments like that do feel like they give you a pretty like relatable thing, like interspersed with a lot more kind of like maybe like spiritual or like metaphysical wandering. Yeah.
Harrison kind of makes you this like sort of like reactionary character to like stuff that like happens to you, like in his like surrealist and like absurdist stuff that he incorporates with his like imagery and all that. So like how was it collaborating with him on terms of like the types of reactions and emotional reactions that either he wanted or something that you took creative liberties for during the film?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the process of acting in this movie was attempting to let go of kind of more conventional notions of like preparing for acting and trying to think about a lot of I love kind of stuff about like the moments before like a scene starts or whatever, and kind of grounding yourself in that. Obviously, kind of by bent of the way that the movie is constructed, it was harder to do that. And also in terms of trying to find the character in the place that Harrison was imagining it, I felt like there was some like tuning that we had to do as we were starting to make the movie, which I think is like natural for any film project. But in this case, the way forward I found was that there was a degree of maybe like surrender would be the right word to say, kind of like the characters in the movie, that one wants to assert a degree of agency of saying like, well, I had this thought and then I'm going to execute on it and then we'll see what happens. To try to kind of let those thoughts go and be more of a vessel for whatever like word of inspiration or cue I might get, and just really try to like let my brain kind of like zone out and just try to be a vessel for whatever like that inspiration would be in the moment, and trust him as I do to the hilt that it would be what he would want and what would serve the film ultimately.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to tackle was that because like you have such an interesting dynamic with Suzanna, and like Fantasia in their synopsis, they describe it as like you have this like sort of situationship in the film, which I think is a little too like labeled. And like I think and I think watching the film even twice is like it's a lot more ambiguous and complex than that. And I think that you and her do a good job of like sort of leaving that up to ambiguity. I'm like, are they really like into each other? Are they friends? So like, how is it working with her and sort of bringing that particular dynamic together?
She's wonderful to work with and really open and cool scene partner. And I think that what I was just talking about of trying to figure out kind of how to let oneself be more of a kind of like a open receptacle towards like whatever the movie wants to be. I felt like that was something that I was picking up from the way that she was acting in the movie, and I found it like really helpful to get to work with her and I guess like copy her in that way. We haven't talked about this, I guess, like as our like whatever. I never like asked her like, what are you thinking about like when you're like acting in the movie or whatever. But yeah, I found her to be really wonderful to work with and really open. And I would say that in the way that a lot of aspects of the movie are kind of like the way that they are presented or whatever, is that I don't know if that's like a synecdoche, if that's the right word or whatever, but that in the same way that time is behaving strangely in the movie and kind of making it hard for my character to remember like did we just meet? Have we been dating for a long time? Have we said that we're dating? Like, those are things that I feel like do happen to people who are not in the kind of like spiritual mire of the characters in Sour Minnows. Like, just in real life, oftentimes people are like, what are we to each other? Are we friends, or are we roommates? Are we dating, or are we not? So I found that that kind of like aspect of the quagmire to be like very relatable.
Awesome. So we've talked before like that about Jury Duty. I absolutely love the show.
Oh, thank you.
And and I think your character in the show is absolutely phenomenal.
Thanks.
So in comparison to something like this in Sour Minnows, and I know you're a comedian, you do a lot of like sketches and stage work and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So how is your approach to all these different types of mediums and genres, especially like talking about this film and something compared to like Jury Duty?
Yeah. In a lot of ways, Jury Duty was almost like a mirror of, or I guess not a mirror, whatever the opposite of a mirror would be. Jury Duty was the opposite of making Sour Minnows in a lot of ways, in that there's obviously an incredibly talented group of writers and a talented director, a million talented people behind the scenes on Jury Duty, who then, as we started to make it, largely had to be invisible and give us a lot of trust to run with whatever it was that we were going to do. So we did have to kind of like assert, like, as individuals, like, I don't have any other choice but to be like, I guess I think that this would be funny to do right now. And we had this roadmap of ideas and a really talented like cast to like form together to figure stuff out. But it was a lot of you're just going to try improvising something, and there's no chance to call cut and try a different thing. It's like, once you've said something, you said it in the world of the show. And that was a lot of fun to do because it allowed for a kind of building of relationships and improvising that I've never had the chance to do in any other context. Maybe more mirroring the way that one would perform live, in that you're trying something, you're waiting to see how it hits an audience, and then you're kind of calibrating as that's happening. Jury Duty was kind of like that, but performed to an audience of one over the course of a few weeks. So yeah, it all that stuff, I guess, does kind of like exist more in like a world of like a continuity unto itself, in the way that I like thought about it and think about like doing comedy, versus something like Sour Minnows, where when I would try to figure out what it is exactly that's going on, it feels like that's like not a complete enough understanding. And so I had to kind of let that go in order for the movie to function.
Yeah, that's incredible. I really appreciate all of your answers. Absolutely really insightful.
Well, yeah, thanks for reaching out.
Yeah, and it was such a pleasure to talk to you today. So one thing before we wrap up. So tomorrow the movie is having a encore screening.
Yes. Yeah.
So definitely check that out. And definitely check out Sour Minnows whenever it reaches a wide release sometime in the near future. And so lastly, I wanted to ask, what kind of projects and stuff that you're working on, and that the audience would like to know?
I am going to be continuing to act weird on camera in different ways and places. And hopefully when it's deemed appropriate and good enough, those will be available for people to watch. We're going to do, we're showing Sour Minnows in New York on August 8th at the Rooftop Screening Series in Brooklyn. It's playing in Melbourne, Australia, which is a continent I've never been to and a country I've never been to. I wish we could go. But I imagine there will be more screenings of that in the future. And then, I'll continue to act random and have weird ideas, and hopefully people will let me render those on camera.
Speaking of country and continent that you've never been to, is this your first time in Canada?
This is, I regret to say, not my first time in Canada, but I'm happy to say it's my second time in Montreal.
Okay, nice.
And I hope it's the second of many. It's a very beautiful town. Yeah.
Nice. Well, all right. Lastly, where can the audiences find you on social media?
Oh, sure. I am most places online. I'm at David's Schedule, because I figured there's probably a bunch of David Browns. There's a David Brown tractor company, I want to say. So yeah, to let them have their lane, I'm David's schedule on the internet.
Awesome. Thanks again for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Costa.
And I hope you have a great rest of the festival. And definitely check it out, the movie tomorrow morning at the festival. All right.
Rock and roll.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Costa.